That'd be a good guess too. The age of the Depression, economic deprivation. Yeah, I don't know what that got to do with people not getting together. So earlier than the 1930s, earlier than the 1860s. Come on. Huh? A lot of mumbling, a lot of indecisive. It's a trick question because the first anti-miscegenation laws that were passed in the United States were passed before there was a United States. They were passed in 1664 in the colony of Maryland. So before there was a formal United States, there were already statutes that prevented, and these are statutes that are passed by Christian legislators, pastors that are looking out at their flock and thinking, these slave masters can't keep their hands off of their prize, their property. Before there was in America, there were anti-miscegenation laws that prevented that coupling. How long do you think those laws stayed in effect? When do you think was the last anti-miscegenation law struck down? 1664. What are we talking about? I'll give you a couple hints. It was after the 1860s, they were after the 1930s. When do you think was the last anti-miscegenation law struck down in the United States? You know, the United States said it's about free love and 70s. Disco. I think we're close. We're close. Actually, it's a Supreme Court decision that took place 1967, Loving versus Virginia. So think about this, ladies and gentlemen. If you think about what transcends time, is it romance? Is it this timeless romance of the little brown working class boy that pines for the beautiful blonde girl? Is that timeless? Or is something timeless as 1664 to 1967? That's more than 300 years of anti-miscegenation laws. So within that time period, from 1664 to 1967, exists this story. To me, again, a timeless story, but also a very particular one. This romance of Mountain Rubio was one that takes place peculiarly within this very center of American culture. So again, whether it's Harlow Bagan or Ralph Pena, Filipino Americans that are attempting to look to their past in the United States. Let's think about the second theme I talked about. And it concerns the use of art to reinterpret the past. In this case, we have an example of how artists in the United States rework, they recast cultural forms, learn from and inspired by their knowledge and their lack of knowledge about the Philippines. So the work they produce is both familiar, but also voiced differently in an American context, in US contexts. In other words, it's rooted in the United States, but it's also routed. So let's think about this one choreographer named Aloy Ibanez. She's the driving force behind Kulangan Arts and the Aloy Ibanez Dance Theater. She has received commissioning awards from the Rockefeller Foundation, the National Endowment for the Arts, New Line Arts, Bravo for Women in the Arts, San Francisco Arts Commission, as well as a choreographic fellowship from the California Arts Council. She's created 15 full dance theater works that have been performed on main stages in the United States, in Europe, and in Asia. Personally, I see Aloy as a personal hero of mine and also a mentor. A woman who's been able to maintain her own artistic vision and her own company and a business, chase down multi-million-dollar grants from anyone that would pay attention, and to do it for quite a long time, for more than 20 years. She truly is an entrepreneur and an artist, and that takes both sides of a very intense brain. And what I want to do is to show you a clip from one work called Muja. Again, this reinterpreting how Filipino Americans reinterpret the past. Let's get into it. traditions there that are involved in that one particular piece. One is this elegant and familiar Spanish colonial or colonial era reworking, along with this this nod to an African indigenized form of cultural dance, right? Can we belabor that point? No. Okay. Let's move on to the third then. This third theme consists of artists that are right on time, they're right in the pocket, as it were. It's a phrase among musicians. Are there musicians in the house? Jazz musicians? Okay, very good. All right, right on time, right in the pocket, what it means is that they're at the very center of popular cultural forms, whether it's jazz or salsa or hip-hop or funk. They've mastered the forms, conventions, and repertoires of the day, and others pay close attention to their own work, often missing the fact that they are indeed Filipino. Multi-instrumentalist Gabe Baltazar was born in Hilo, Hawaii, November 1st, 1929. While attending McKinley High School in Honolulu, he won a scholarship to study at Michigan's prestigious Interlochen Music Camp. And following graduation in 1948, he attended Peabody Music Institute in Baltimore from 48 to 50. From 51 to 1954, he played in an army band in Virginia. And then from 56, he freelanced in Los Angeles while continuing his studies at LA City College, LA State College, getting a bachelor's degree in music in 1967. He rose to prominence as a soloist during his years as the lead alto saxophonist in Stan Kenton's big band from 1960 to 65. And during this time, he must have appeared on 3 or 4 dozen LPs. And he's been recognized as being one of the best lead soloists in that orchestra. During the same time period, he also played with Onsi Matthews, Ralph Pena, Terry Gibbs. After leaving Kenton, he worked in Los Angeles clubs and took up studio work, playing a variety of woodwind instruments for network television shows, including Gil Fuller, Oliver Nelson, Ray Charles, and others. In 1969, he returned to his home state in Hawaii, where he served as deputy bandmaster of the Royal Hawaiian Band in Honolulu until 1985. And during the 1990s, he appeared at many festivals and gave concerts as the leader of a quartet and a guest soloist. Baltazar is a powerful performer with a thorough command of the bop idiom. His playing ability and his wealth of musical experiences have made him a musical workshop leader, a valuable workshop leader, and a soloist both in the United States and throughout the world. The man continues still to play, and for any alto saxophonist that plays, he's happy to challenge them to an afternoon of playing if they can keep up. This is just earlier in the year, Gabe Baltazar on a local television show in Honolulu.
Thank you, Richard. And for those of you watching at home, you may have recognized the Tonight Show theme that Richard Nato and the Philharmonic were playing. Well, that's because my first guest was on that show playing with Doc Severinsen not once but 2 times. And I have a special place in my heart for him because when I was first starting out, he was playing a jazz club called The Cavalier and was so generous to this budding young comic at the time. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Mr. Gabe Baltazar.
You know, at one point in its history, jazz music was considered